Hello everybody, this is Flaming MFGster and welcome back to a stupid video that no one will care about. Now when I think of The Legend of Zelda, I think of this, probably because it's the most recent game in the Zelda franchise. That being said, Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda series is often to be considered one of the reasons Nintendo was a success along with the Mario franchise. I wasn't around when the first game was released in February of 1986 for the NES, but I can tell you it has aged pretty bad. Not as bad as Zelda 2, but aged bad nonetheless. Now with saying that, this game was a smash hit for me and I do fully enjoy this game up to my potential. I don't know if that's saying much, but this game was big back in 1998. For this video, however, I'm going to be looking at the 3DS port of Ocarina of Time released in 2011. I don't own the N64 and I do not plan on buying it on the Virtual Console. So does this game hold up to nowadays standards? Let's find out. This is my review of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 3DS. In 2017, I finally got a copy of the goddamn game, and I enjoyed the hell out of it every day when I came home from school. And let me just say this. The 3D titles of Zelda get more dark and serious as the series goes on, and the game's world is very big considering the fact that it takes place in Hyrule. Anyways, enough chit chat, let us begin with the story. A fairy who goes by the name Navi awakes Link, who is now 10 years old at the moment. And Link and Navi meet up with the Deku Tree, who had a curse on him, and it's up to the two of them to cure it. And they do so by attacking the enemy inside the tree itself. But in the end, the Deku Tree told Link and Navi that they were doomed from the start. Okay then, I am not gonna question that. The tree tells our heroes about the three goddesses, Din, Naru, and Farore, and it's here that we learn that these three elements are responsible for Hyrule and the Triforce itself. The person responsible of the curse of the Deku Tree is none other than Ganondorf himself, because that's surprising now, isn't it? The tree gives Link one of the goddesses to enter the sacred realm, where the Triforce itself is located on. In no time at all, Link and Navi meet up with Princess Zelda, and she tells them that they have to get all of the three of the spiritual stones in order to get the Master Sword before Ganon does. And the Master Sword is, of course, located at the sacred realm, and in order to open the gate of the Master Sword, you're gonna need the Ocarina of Time to do so. But before you can do that, you gotta go to Goron Mountain and Death Mountain and the Zora domain, in which you fight King Dodongo, and once you fight him, you'll need to rescue the Princess of Zora's, Ruto, from inside the fish who is named Jabu Jabu. After all of that, Link returns to Hyrule and Zelda's taken away from that place, and Ganon gives chase. Zelda hands Link the Ocarina of Time to keep it away from Ganondorf himself. Link uses it with the three goddesses to open the Master Sword gate. As soon as Link pulls the Master Sword, Ganon reveals that he's been following Link this entire time, and Link is in a coma, causing Ganon, of course, to take the Triforce away. Link is later on awakened by the Sage of Light named Rauru, who tells Link that he is too young to use the Master Sword. But right now, 7 years has passed and Link has turned 17 years old, who has a much better appearance than young Link wishes to be. After Link goes back outside, it is a big disaster and it's all thanks to Ganon. Link is now tasked to rescue all of the other 5 Sages in Hyrule in order to them to reunite and stop Ganon once and for all. When the 5 elements are rescued, Link goes back to the temple to meet up with a ninja named Sheik, who was revealed to be Princess Zelda herself. Princess Peach, eat your damn heart out. After Zelda reveals herself, she is once again kidnapped by Ganondorf, and Link and Ganon go head to head with each other, and I'll say right now, I absolutely love this battle, especially with the final one of the game just moans awesomeness. Link then places his Master Sword back to where it belongs, and Navi leaves Link, ending Ocarina of Time. Now, in terms of the plot, while it seems to do a decent job in explaining things like how Hyrule was created, I for one personally think that A Link to the Past did it better. It's not complicated and it gets the job done more than this game, but whatever. Now, if you are familiar with the 3D games, then you should be able to dive right in. I'm gonna assume you're playing the 3DS version, duh. You control Link with the circle pad, and if you want to jump, you press the A button. You press the B button to attack, and if you want to use the other items on the bottom screen, you just press the X or Y button to enable them. Want to get a closer view? Just hold down the L button, and you can either control it with the 3DS gyroscope or the circle pad. It's also an easier way of targeting enemies that come in your way. You can also side jump and avoid faster enemies that come at you. and this is a move I use a lot, but we'll get to that later. Like the previous titles, the hearts in this game represent your life in the game. You can increase the number of hearts you have by retrieving the heart containers dropped by fallen bosses, or by collecting pieces of hearts scattered around Hyrule. You can pick up items like in A Link to the Past, and you can find hidden goodies. You also have 4 button items to select, and this is better than the N64 version. And the Ocarina now has its own button, so if there's a time limit or something, make sure to act fast and pick the item up. This is really amazing, and I am glad that Miyamoto did it right like they should have done in A Link to the Past. Let's talk about Hyrule. Ocarina of Time is such a big game when it comes to that place, and you may be saying to me, "Well, Burster, Hyrule is a big place, so you shouldn't even complain." I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that Link in this game is an absolute tank. He can't run fast, and there is no Pegasus boosters unlike Zelda 3. Remember how I brought up the side jump earlier? Well, that's the reason why I can't go fast, and that is the only way I can go fast from place to place, at a somewhat faster rate. Unless you can find something to increase your speed, then it will take you about 7 to 10 hours to complete Ocarina of Time on foot. However, there is some hope. You can use the Ocarina to walk to different temples by playing songs on it, and when you're an adult Link, you can get the horse by the name of Epona to dash your way to the next area. Though you shouldn't abuse its speed too much, as its hearts are represented as carrots. Now, the only way you can unlock Epona is racing against someone to the finish, and once you win, the horse is all yours. And let me just say this right now. This race drove me insane when I first experienced it. Not only I can't go faster than the opponent, but it seems like I have wasted all of my pubes for nothing. But then I figured out how you can beat the opponent. Once the race starts, you wait for a couple of seconds, and once you take off, you won't even see your opponent, and then you complete the race and win Epona. It's the method I always use to complete this race. Yeah, an easy one, but the coding in this race is awful, so you can't blame me for taking advantage of it. If I can say one thing that makes this game shine, is its atmosphere. Everything has a smooth 30 frames per second, and it feels natural for a handheld game. The music is also pretty sweet too, and while I can't hum to most of it, the final fight with Ganondorf gives me a full of happy of hum it a lot. Now, how about those temples? In my opinion, a lot of them can be long, and some of them can be very hard. They're very challenging. Do I even need to bring up the water temple? What is there even to say about it? It's long, hard, boring, frustrated, and anticlimactic. And you have to use the iron boots to get to the bottom of the water. I think by the time I finished the temple, I believe it took me 2 days, 48 hours, 2,880 minutes, and 172,800 seconds. All of that combined to all of this time in hell. And I seriously cannot tell you the amount of times I got slapped in the forehead so hard that I might as well have handprint in the process, because I couldn't figure out the answer in completing the water temple earlier than 2 days. In fact, the only item you can use underwater is the hook shot to take out enemies. Kinda sucks considering the fact that Link cannot swim at all, which is a crap load of mental retardation. Now, don't get me wrong, the hook shot is pretty useful as it can grab items I can't reach. And this could happen very often in the Fire Temple, which is a temple I enjoy going through. The boss fights are pretty challenging, and I did get a kick out of taking out Bongo Bongo and Baronade. Phantom Ganon is a bit hard. Whenever I die, it seems like I messed up and not the boss itself. Ganon, however, is like my favorite one to battle. Despite the number of times I have died, I really did enjoy taking out this retard. And I am glad that Princess Zelda is doing something for once in the Zelda series. Now, one thing I can't stand no matter who I am is Navi. She is loud and she always points out like the obvious. Like telling me to go to my next destination, yet I'm already there. Other than that, she's a decent character in the cutscenes. To wrap things up, I'll just now give my final thoughts of the game. For their first attempt at making a 3D Zelda game, they did a dang good job at it. The temples like the Fire Temple are one of those places that I enjoy visiting mostly to find some hidden items or some rubies. And I will say, I am absolutely sick and tired of the Water Temple, and I think you all know why from earlier. To cap off, there is also a master quest of the game in which you can unlock by completing the entire game. Simply put, it's the hard mode of Ocarina of Time, and it's pretty rad. Overall, if you haven't played Ocarina of Time, then the 3DS version is the version you should be playing if you want to make the controls easier. It's without the definitive version of this game, and I am looking forward to playing Majora's Mask if it's anything like Ocarina of Time. With that said, I'll give the game a 7.8 out of 10. The samples can be a bit disappointing with the exception of a few, but this game is my boss, so I can't give it a low score. Anyways, I gotta go. Bye, mate. To wrap things up, I'll just wrap up my final thoughts of the wrap of the